Somebody paid $28,000 for a 10-year-old grilled cheese sandwich, half a sandwich, with a bite already taken out of it, because they thought they saw the Virgin Mary in the toast. Captain Kirk sold a piece of his own body, and it went for the price of a car. A bird sold for nearly $2 million. Not a rare exotic bird. A pigeon. The same animal you shoo away from your fries, and someone bought the actual coffin that held one of the most infamous men in American history for a sum that could buy a house. These are not myths. Every single one is a real, documented, money-changed hands transaction. And the strangest part is not what people bought. It is that most of these were bought by the same handful of buyers for one very calculated reason. Let's count it down. Quick note first. This channel exists for people who like the true, sourced version of the internet's wildest stories. If that is you, subscribe. It genuinely keeps me chasing down the real auction records instead of the recycled clickbait numbers. Number 5. In 2004, a Florida woman named Diana Dizer made a grilled cheese sandwich, took one bite, and saw a face looking back at her from the toast. She decided it was the Virgin Mary. Then she kept it for 10 years in a plastic box on her nightstand. And here is the part she swore by. In a decade, it never grew a spot of mold. In 2004, she listed the half sandwich on eBay. It racked up around 1.6 million views, got briefly pulled by eBay as a suspected joke, then reinstated, and finally sold for $28,000 to an online casino called goldenpalace.com. Remember that name? It is about to explain almost this entire list. At number 4, in 2006, Star Trek's William Shatner passed a kidney stone so large he joked you could wear it on your finger, and rather than throw it away like a normal human being, he sold it to goldenpalace.com. Again, the contemporary 2006 reports, including Guinness World Records, list the price at $25,000, with the money going to Habitat for Humanity. Amusingly, in a 2025 interview, Shatner himself remembered it as $75,000, saying he talked them up because even Calgary's talking about it. Verify. The documented figure is $25,000. Use that on screen and treat the $75,000 as Shatner's later recollection. Either way, Shatner may be the only person to negotiate up the price of his own kidney stone. His logic, quoted at the time, his Star Trek tunics had sold for over $100,000, so a literal piece of his body was worth at least this. Placing at number 3, this one drops the comedy. When Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who assassinated President Kennedy, was buried in 1963, he was placed in a simple pine coffin. In 1981, his body was exhumed to disprove a conspiracy theory that the man in the grave was actually a Soviet imposter. It was not. Dental records confirmed it was Oswald. But the original coffin, damaged and water-stained, was kept by the funeral home, and in December 2010, it went to auction and sold for around $87,000. Think about that. Someone paid the price of a house for an empty, damaged box, valuable purely because of the 10 seconds of history it briefly contained. This is where you start to see the real engine of this whole list. People are not buying objects. They are buying proximity to a story. Halfway. If you are enjoying the descent into human absurdity, subscribing takes 2 seconds and tells the algorithm to show this to more curious people. And drop your next topic in the comments. Most expensive mistakes ever made? Objects that turned out to be worth millions? The strangest world records? I read every suggestion, and the most requested ones get made. Top 2. Elvis Presley's personal barber saved the king's hair for years. In 2002, a large clump of it sold at auction for roughly $115,000, earning the title of most expensive hair ever sold online. Now, hair is the perfect case study for why this whole market exists, because it is genuinely impossible to fully verify. There is no receipt, no DNA match on file, nothing but a chain of "trust me," and people paid 6 figures anyway. That is the recurring truth of weird high-value sales. The object is almost worthless. What sells is the belief attached to it. $115,000 did not buy hair. It bought a piece of Elvis, real or imagined, and the story of owning it. And at number 1, and the number 1 weirdest thing to sell for a fortune, is a bird you would not look at twice. In November 2020, a 2-year-old Belgian racing pigeon named New Kim sold at auction for 1.6 million euros, about $1.9 million. That is not a typo. $1.9 million for a pigeon. Here is how that happens. Elite pigeon racing is a massive, deadly serious sport, especially in China, where champion birds and their offspring can win enormous prizes. New Kim was a proven champion, which made her a breeding goldmine. In the final 30 minutes of a 2-week auction, 2 anonymous Chinese bidders, using the names Super Duper and Hitman, went to war, driving the price up by roughly $325,000 in half an hour. Super Duper won and reportedly already owned the previous record holder, a male pigeon named Armando, so he could breed the 2 most expensive pigeons on Earth together. So, unlike everything else on this list, the pigeon is not a novelty. This buyer was coldly rational. He was not buying a weird story. He was buying superior genetics, the same way someone buys a champion racehorse. It just happens to be an animal most of us associate with park benches. And that is the thread through all 5. The grilled cheese, the kidney stone, and the coffin sold for the story. The Elvis hair sold for the belief. And the pigeon, the weirdest sounding of them all, was actually the only genuinely logical purchase in the bunch. The lesson of weird expensive things is simple. An object is almost never worth what it is. It is worth whatever story someone is willing to pay to stand next to. And sometimes, occasionally, it can actually fly. Thank you for watching to the end. Genuinely, if this made your brain hurt in a good way, hit the like button, because it pushes the video toward other people who enjoy the beautifully ridiculous corners of history. Subscribe so you catch the next one, and tell me in the comments which of these you would honestly buy if you were suddenly unreasonably rich. I will see you in the next video.